Hey there. In this video, I want to take you through the steps required in order to setting up authentication for your application. One of the most powerful things about building apps in FlutterFlow is that it interacts with a real database, and you're able to automatically set up some of this authentication for users. They can log in, they can log out, they can create records, they can save stuff to their records. It's very powerful and it's very easy to do. In minutes, we can set this up. It'll take a little longer because I want to go through every step. In this video, we're going to be setting up email authentication. We can also set up phone authentication, Google sign in, and Apple sign in. We can do all of that from Firebase. So I want to walk you through how to create a Firebase account, how to set up the additional settings in Firebase so that we have storage, we have our database working, and authentication. And then we're going to test it in FlutterFlow. So deploy the rules, do everything you need in order to get your first working authenticated application working in FlutterFlow. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Let's start with a new project. We will call it no code auth. And we're just going to create a blank project. Now you can just, you can always set this project name, no code UI, no code auth is fine. We do want to set up Firebase. You could set up web as well, which allows you to publish to the web. We might as well do that. You can choose one of these themes if you would like. we're going to go with this purple tones one. It's sort of my favorite. I also just have a bunch of themes that I've created and I use as design systems. So we can go ahead and do this. All right. So this is the step, right? Now, this is really easy. If you would like to, you can just create a project from here. You'll sign in with Google. And basically, FlutterFlow will do everything for you. That's a really easy path. That's the easy path. This is what you should do. Okay. But for those of you that maybe don't know how to do this or haven't done it before and this breaks or something, I want to just have a fallback for you so that you know how to just create a project from scratch and copy it into here. So let's go ahead and switch over to Firebase. So this is what a Firebase console will look like when you have no Firebase collections, anything, right? I'm signed in to my Google account. I don't have any projects. So we'll just create a project here. I'm going to call this no code UI auth. I accept Firebase terms. I confirm it's exclusively purposes relating to my trade. Yes, I'm just training stuff. So we'll enable Google Analytics for this project. Why not? And we're in the United States, so we'll do that. We accept the terms and conditions. So let's go ahead and create our project. That probably took a couple minutes, but we're ready to go. Our Firebase project is ready. Let's go ahead and continue. And it should take us over here. Looky there, no code auth. That's awesome. So we don't have anything connected yet. We don't have apps created. But what we need to do is in our FlutterFlow project, we need this Firebase project ID. So how do we get that? Go over here to settings in the top left and go to project settings. And then this project ID is right here. So let's go ahead and just copy that and we'll paste it right here. And then we're going to connect. Okay. Oh, FlutterFlow does not have access to this Firebase account. This is great. This is a great problem to have. Okay. We run into this issue. You may not be like, what the heck? What is this? Why is this happening? So when you go through the create project flow from FlutterFlow, FlutterFlow actually handles all this for you, which is great. If you set this up manually, like we're doing, what we need to do is go over to users and permissions, and we need to add a member here. So Firebase at flutterflow.io. We're going to give it a editor role, and then we're going to give it a couple additional roles here. So go to the advanced settings. Okay, and then we're going to click on this Firebase at flutterflow.io. Let's go ahead and add another role. And we need the service account user. We need this one. Okay, and the next one is Cloud Functions Admin. This is it. Perfect. Let's just save that. Now we're back in our project and we can connect this. Okay, nice. So success. We can auto-generate config files. This will create apps in our Firebase setup. So if we go back here, right, project overview, it says, add an app to get started. We're going to let FlutterFlow do that. So let's go ahead and generate this. We're going to generate these files. It's going to take a few seconds. Okay, now we have our app set up, and we can enable authentication here. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's create a user collection. Now we're going to turn both of these on, and we're going to set them up later. So we're also going to set these initial pages up, because what we're going to do is we're going to implement a flow, a FlutterFlow flow, which has all of these things set up, because the only thing you need to do in FlutterFlow is actually toggle on authentication here and here, period. So let's go ahead and start building. We have a couple of errors because we need that authentication flow. But before we utilize that flow, right, we have the Firebase setup. So we have a few additional things we need to do in Firebase so that we can actually create accounts and save accounts, etc. So let's come back to Firebase. If we refresh this, now we have our apps that are created, and let's come over to build, right? Let's go to the authentication tab. And as you can see, we don't have this set up. So we can do everything right in FlutterFlow and not have this set up, and it won't work. So let's turn this on. And then let's go ahead and say email password, right? We'll save that. We could also add a new provider like anonymous. Can enable that. Okay, now we have 2 providers, and you can add these other providers. We're going to do email and anonymous for now. And the next thing we're going to do is come over to Firebase database. Okay, so since we set this up ourselves, we're going to have to create this as well. Which again, you could start in test mode or production mode. I'll just do production mode for now. Okay, the last thing we need to do is storage. In order to upload any data like images or PDF files or anything, we need storage in Firebase. So let's create that. Sweet. Our storage is created. So now we have storage, database, and authentication. Let's go back to FlutterFlow. Okay. Now we only have one page in this project here. So what we want to do is press Command K. Brings up our add page dialog, but also it has this flows dialog. So this flows dialog is amazing. If I do say so myself, these are things that I've created in the past. I created for FlutterFlow. And what they are, they're a bunch of screens and logic linked together, already working with your backend. So this authentication flow already has a create account, a login page, a forgot password page, a create profile page, a profile page, an edit profile page. All of these things are already created and linked. You would actually have to do that manually if you didn't have these flows. So we're going to just we're going to get one. We have numerous, right? We have some that have phone login. We have some that have, a KYC flow. We have some simple ones as well. So just like login with email and password, this one as well. No profile creation. We're going to do this one. This is my favorite. It's a profile creation flow. So what it's going to do is going to add all of these pages, and it's going to modify our users collection. So in FlutterFlow, you have to create your collections for Firebase. And we don't have to do that here because it's automatically created for us. We did that when we set up the project. And now we need to just add this to project. Awesome. So we have our Auth Flow now. We still have a few project issues, and I'll show you why. But first, let's go to this users collection. We have this users collection, right? And it has all of this information. You can add fields here. This is anything you want to store in your user collection. So we have display name, email, photo URL, UID, created time, phone number. These are all things that you get out of the box in your users collection because it's the same thing that is brought over from Google and Apple. And then you can add different things. So short description, last active time, role, title, maybe platform, permissions. You could add almost anything you want to this collection. But let's come over to settings. So this is good. We'll deploy our rules in a second, but let's break down what this authentication flow looks like. So we have our sign in page here, or sign up page here, and our sign in page. It's tab view. So this is a default tab bar widget in FlutterFlow, really easy. And all you need to do in FlutterFlow, if you set this up by default, right? If you utilize one of the templates in FlutterFlow, or if you build an auth screen yourself from scratch, there's no need to do that, but if you wanted to, you could. All you're going to do to set up auth is come over to an action button like this, or a button like this, and the action, and we're just going to create account, right? We're going to just search create, and then Firebase Authentication, create account. But let's go ahead and take care of these bugs. These are really easy. We need to set an entry page, which we're going to set as authentication 1, and we need to set a logged in page. So we'll just set our home page as our logged in page, and we need to deploy our Firebase storage. So let's go ahead and deploy this. So we created our storage in Firebase, but we need to deploy some rules. So let's go ahead and do that. Or sorry, the Firebase storage rules. Let's come over to our Firebase settings and let's deploy our Firestore rules. This is so that we can actually create user documents, okay? Now you can have authentication turned on and Firestore rules turned off or not deployed, and your UI will function, but it won't create a user account. You'll just, it'll create an auth account and not a user account. So it's a bug that is very typical. So I have the FlutterFlow desktop app, which allows me to actually test this on my simulator, on my desktop. You have to have a pro account in order to have this, but even if you don't, right? If you don't have a desktop app, you don't have the pro account, you don't have an emulator or a simulator set up, all good. You can always come up to this top right corner. There's a test mode button, right? This little lightning. You can test this in the browser. So it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and run that and we can test this sign up. So let's go ahead and test it. We will do test at domain.com. Okay, and we're going to create an account. Awesome, we're able to log in. So we just logged in and we created a user document. Okay, we can upload an image here. And we can set our name. So Andrew D. My role is director, maybe owner, founder. I love teaching FlutterFlow. Okay, we'll confirm. And then we're just logged in, taken here, and looky here. We have our dynamic data. Very, very cool. So the reason why this is all set up, we'll sort of backtrack and talk about that, is here in this create account flow. So when you're doing this yourself, right? Create user document. You want to create the user document, set the collection, which is the users. If you ever want to add more fields, so here on this create account screen, we just have email, password, confirm password. Those are all authentication level fields. If you wanted to add like the first name to the user, you could do that here. And then you could just add a field. You could say, look, I want to also capture the display name. And so you would create a text field here and capture that data and save it to the user document. We don't need to do that because we actually have this profile create where we're doing that as well. And in this profile create screen, we are saving, we have this as a component. So if it's edit or create, sort of the same thing, we're always going to be updating the user document. So it's really easy, but we have, updating the display name here, the photo URL, and this photo URL, there's a condition here. So we have an upload media file asset. So an action that allows us to upload a media asset, so an image, to Firebase storage. And what we're doing here is we're saying if the uploaded file URL is set, so if I've tapped that button and I've uploaded an image, then update my user document with that uploaded image. Else, just utilize whatever is in the photo URL. So if the photo URL isn't set, it'll just be null. If it is set, if I've already uploaded my image and I haven't uploaded a new one, it's just going to save that image. So that's great. And then the short description, we're taking that from the text field on our page. We are updating the last active time with the current time, and we are updating the role from the drop down right here. So that's a little breakdown of how to set up auth in FlutterFlow, how easy it is to utilize a flow to set up that multi-screen, connection that you have to have. Almost every application has to have. And then also how to adapt, fields to your user collection, and how to save data to your user collection that isn't an email and password associated with your authentication. So I hope this was helpful. I know this was a simple version, but I think it's a very powerful version, and it'll allow you to really get up and running on saving things to a database, understanding the most basic elements of FlutterFlow, and how to create things and save things to a user profile, and how to make each user's data unique. So thank you so much. There's going to be a whole course, Firebase Basics, where we're going to go through all of this plus more. What is data structuring? What are enums and data types, and how do you utilize those in your collections? How do you utilize user references or collection references to sort of relate information from a user collection to like a trips information, vice versa. And we're going to break down how to cache data, pass data, connect data, query data. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you'd like, you can sign up for the waitlist for that. It's going to come out later this summer. And really, again, I hope you've enjoyed this. Please leave a comment, thumbs up, subscribe. I would appreciate it. So thank you, and until next time.